Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and in fact we're doing a D&D 5e combat tutorial, a mini combat tutorial on the Paladin at level 1. And let's get right to the crux of it. Divine Smite. No, we're not going to be covering Divine Smite today. I actually did a video on Divine Smite. I pre-recorded it, I edited this video. It's pretty clear, it explains everything. And that's what that video is supposed to do. This video is to just get you started if you are a beginner and playing Dungeons and Dragons and you want to play a Paladin. And that's essentially what these videos are all about. This is also going to be the very last of the mini combat tutorials for the different classes. And in fact, we're going to see a very different nature to my combat tutorials in the future. And they're going to be a lot smaller and shorter and very much to the point and specific. But let's start off with, hey, why not play a Paladin? I think the Paladin is one of the craziest classes out there. They are really good at doing everything. This picture doesn't really ultimately depict what a Paladin is capable of, because I don't see a Paladin getting scared or worried about a huge collection of giant spiders rampaging through a dungeon. It just doesn't seem like a plausible idea, but I liked the picture and I thought I would present it because it was exciting. So because I have a thing for the half-orc, I thought that a Paladin who was a half-orc would be a good way to sort of introduce you to playing a Paladin. And I mean, you can play a human. There's always that option. You can build whatever you like. There are pre-generated characters available for a human Paladin at level 1 and also a half-orc. But I decided the half-orc was the one I wanted to go for. And what is the Paladin? It is sort of your divine warrior, given down righteous powers from their deity, or it might not be a deity, it might be just an order. They usually have a code of some kind, and I know a lot of people are saying, hang on, lawful good, that's the Paladin. Well, Dungeons and Dragons 5e has changed the view of what the Paladin is. I don't want to get into an argument or a battle with anybody regarding what the Paladin should be or shouldn't be. That's not the point of these combat tutorials and these rundowns on a particular class. Instead, what we're going to talk about is what they can do, and they can do a lot. So I'm presenting you a pre-generated character sheet for a half-orc Paladin at level 1, and they are basically, I would say, almost vengeful fury sometimes. Not all of them about vengeful anything, but they usually have some sort of aspirations to follow a code of conduct and follow a particular path. They're not just wandering around usually killing monsters and collecting treasure. I suppose you could have a Paladin like that. You can build a character however you like, but I think the philosophy behind the Paladin is a little bit more complicated than that. Okay, the background for this particular character. Now, you can get this character sheet from the Dungeons and Dragons website. The official Dungeons and Dragons website has a human and a half-orc for level 1 right through to level 10. You can download these PDFs and check them out for yourself. The background for this character is the Outlander. And the Outlander basically means that you are able to sort of your memory is really good with maps and geography, and you can make your way around the terrain that you have explored. And so therefore you don't generally need to worry about getting lost too badly, although you might need to read a little bit more into that. Your dungeon master might have some issues with that. But what it does say is that you can find fresh water for yourself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers berries, small game, water, and so forth. So, no rolling that survival check or perception check or whatever your dungeon master wants. Factions for this particular character, we're going Order of the Gauntlet. There's no reason why you can't go Lord's Alliance or something like that, but Order of the Gauntlet. Personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws we won't cover today because we're supposed to be talking about combat, and yes, there will be miniatures and a map. Don't worry, we're getting there. Now, Half-Orc has dark vision. Just about every single race seems to have dark vision. I won't cover the specifics of dark vision. I will only say that if you're wandering around in the darkness, you can see as if you are looking in dim light, which means you still have disadvantage on perception checks. I know a lot of people forget that. I'm just going to remind you. And because we are a half-orc, we have relentless endurance. This recharges only once you take a long rest. Not a short rest, but a long rest. That means you will have to sleep. But if you are reduced by some sort of damage to 0 and not killed outright, you can instead drop to 1 hit point. Now that doesn't mean your character falls over with 0 hit points and then gets 1 hit point back once you use this feature, which means you now need to stand up. No, it just means that when you fall to 0 hit points, instead of falling to 0, you fall to 1, provided you're not killed outright. So there's no going down prone and then having to stand up on your turn or anything like that. So don't get caught up in all that sort of nonsense. Savage attack, why not? Orcs are very savage. When you score a critical hit with a melee, that's a close quarter weapon, you can roll one of the weapon dice damage. So that the damage dice, you roll one of those, and you can add additional damage. So basically one of those dice is going to be additional damage that you will do. Now that sounds pretty awesome. So here's the question. I know what you're thinking. All right, so that means I get an extra dice. An extra dice. No, it doesn't say extra dice. It says one additional dice. So normally when you get a critical hit, you double all of the damage dice that you are going to roll. Okay? You double all the dice. That doesn't mean you double the savage attack damage dice. That one is just one you add on after. It's okay, make it clear. Don't double the additional dice you get for your damage with savage attack. Okay, alright, we've covered it. Alright, let's talk about something like Divine Sense. You get 3 uses of this. It recharges after a long rest, not a short rest. It is an action to use, although often you probably won't use it when you're in a combat anyway. But that doesn't matter, does it? Not really. So essentially, what is this? This is your Detect Evil Radar. No, it's not your Detect Evil Radar. It used to be Detect Evil Radar, but it's not. It doesn't go through walls. Okay, it's not like heat vision or anything like that that tells you there are evil people around or evil monsters. No, instead, it's very different. Although it does say that your awareness to sense strong evil and powerful good, it's not detect good and evil. It's not that. So until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any kind of celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you, provided they aren't behind total cover. That means if there's a big block wall or a door, no, you can't sense them. What about if the door is slightly ajar and there's just a little bit of a gap? We'll get to that, okay? I know where people are going with that one. You know the type of being whose presence is around in that radius. You can also detect the presence of any sort of place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell. And you get to use this, in this case, it's 3 times a day, but usually the feature works 1 plus your charisma modifier. Now, the charisma modifier for our half-orc is only a +2. So I'm going to get to use it 3 times, but if you had a much higher charisma modifier, then, of course, it would be 1 plus your charisma modifier. Okay, Lay on Hands is your next major feature that you get, and Lay on Hands is super awesome. I don't think people understand just how powerful it is. You have a pool of healing power with which you can restore up to 5 hit points. This pull replenishes or is replaced once you have a long rest. As an action, yes, you will have to use an action, not a bonus action, you can touch a creature and draw power from your pool to restore a number of hit points to that creature, up to a maximum amount remaining in your pool. So if you have 5 available at level 1, you can use all 5. And of course, that number or the amount that you have available to you will increase as you level up. So at level 2, you'll get 10, level 3, you'll get 15. So each level, you get another 5. Alternatively, and I think a lot of people forget this, you can expend 5 of those points, okay, and that is going to allow you to cure a target of 1 disease or neutralize 1 poison that is affecting it. So you can cure multiple diseases and neutralize multiple poisons with a single use. So one action can do all of that, but you need to be spending 5 points for each thing you're trying to do. I'm pretty sure it's as clear as mud, but I know a few people get confused. Now, lay on hands will have no effect on something like the undead or constructs. So yes, if you're worried about being able to use lay on hands to do damage to undead, it's not really going to work that way. No, you can't heal the undead and then have it as a pet so it can follow you around. No, it doesn't work that way. And no, you can't go and fix the construct and then reprogram it so it's your little buddy. No, it's not going to work. Alright, so let's go to our opening scene and actually have a look at what combat might look like and actually sort of discuss some of the features that I've just been talking about. Now, I do apologize, the scene might be a little bit sort of washed out with light from my window, and I do apologize for that. I'm hoping that the light will sort of drop down a little bit. Might turn off one of the lights, and that might help just a fraction, just so you can see things a bit clearly. You might notice also I have a different whiteboard today. I have replaced it with a smaller, modified, converted one I made. Alright, well, I turned off a light. Didn't really seem to do very much, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so we are in the Rat Fang sewers. It's really smelly and stinky in here, and our half-orc is going and looking for... there's supposed to be people who have been going missing in the sewers, and nobody knows really what's going on. And of course, in this case, he's ventured off on his own, which you should never do, as I've pointed out many, many times before. Never go off on your own. And he's looking around, and there is, in fact, what looks like a captured individual. Now, they are behind this black block wall here. This is a block wall, stone wall. Okay, let's talk about something like divine sense. So here they are. There they are. And you decide to activate your Paladin radar. No, it's not a Paladin radar. You activate your divine sense and you're trying to figure out if there's any sort of strong presence of evil or good. Does that mean that I know that this disguised slave or disguised captor is in fact a lich? No. No, you don't. Unfortunately, no, it doesn't work that way, okay? There is a big wall here. Oh, but Fred, there is like a grate here. There's big gaps here. That means my divine sense can wiggle through those little gaps there, come around here, and I'm still within 60 feet. No, it has total cover. It's not going to work. So, no, you can't detect the lich over here who is in fact disguised themselves as a captor because your divine sense has a big block wall in the way. Okay, that's not going to work. Now, it's a little bit different if you are dealing with your captor here and you come in and like, oh, there he is. Yes, you can activate your divine sense and discover that in fact you are dealing with an undead. It is not a human captor or captured person. It is something else. So by all means, as long as you can see them and they don't have total cover, you're all good. What about something like partial cover, like half cover or 3/4 cover? No, the ability states that it has to be total cover. That means, essentially, the concept is that as long as there's no total cover, you can have an opportunity to sense them. But remember, it doesn't go around circles and spaces and so forth. I certainly hope it doesn't, otherwise I'm telling you the wrong thing. Anyway, so that's covered divine sense. What about lay on hands? Now, the great thing about lay on hands is when you're battling creatures, such as, say, a whole bunch of really nasty big spiders like these things here, you can get into a bad situation. Maybe somebody drops down, your buddies are fighting away here, and the cleric and the barbarian, I doubt the barbarian's ever going to go down, but maybe the cleric goes down in the fight, and the wizard's over here, and there's a rogue there, and no, Dritz isn't coming today. We'll bring a ranger with us though. So yes, you're having a battle, somebody goes down, and you've got lay on hands. Woohoo! So you can use your action, provided you're close enough to do so. So you might have to move away, or you might have to wait for your buddy to move around so you can get to them without provoking an attack of opportunity. Use your action, and you can either restore 5 hit points at level 1, and they'll get 5 hit points, and on their turn they can flick open their eyes if they want to and get up and engage in combat. Or you could use just 1. Now, one of the things about the Paladin is because it has 5 uses essentially of lay on hands at level 1, that means that if you have the same individual falling down multiple times, you can do just 1 point, get them back on their feet with 1 hit point. All you have to do is expend 1 use and 1 point. That'll get them 1 hit point. That means they are conscious. So that means if you wind up with a party who's a little bit cracked, and you've got like a kamikaze suicidal wizard who insists engaging in close quarter combat and is constantly going down, that means that you can restore them back to being conscious every time they fall over, again and again and again. You can do that a total of 5 times. 5 times, pretty good. I think it's worthwhile making sure to save that lay on hands. You only need to use 1 point, and you're getting somebody back up. Now the thing about that is, show me a cleric who can do that at level 1. Get somebody back on their feet with healing 5 times. No, I don't think there is. I'm pretty sure they might, Life Cleric can do a lot of healing, but they can't get somebody back on their feet 5 times during the same battle. So that's why the lay on hands feature is so impressive. Also too, the ability to get rid of a disease or remove a poison condition, really helpful. So hence, remember those when you need to neutralize poison and get rid of those diseases. Make sure to remove the disease from your party's characters before anything drops off. If it's fallen off, curing them of the disease won't reattach the limb that has rotted off their body. So make sure you do it soon. And it's never wise to leave things unattended. You know, remember when you go to the doctor, you want to do it before things get really bad. Okay, let's get into combat. Let's have a battle. I'm going to ditch some of these other miniatures here because I don't really want them part of the battle. So I'm going to remove them out of the way. I don't think it's fair to throw too many spiders at our Paladin just yet. But what I will do is, look, one of the things about a spider is they can attach themselves to, like a spider climb. They can climb up a wall, they can climb on a ceiling, you can have them up high and out of reach. So let's make this sewer area quite high. I'm going to make it like 30 feet high. That means I'm going to put my spider up here. I don't know if you can see my spider, it's probably out of the screen now and you can't see anything, and that's like going to be super helpful. It's on the ceiling, and our Paladin is walking through this location. It's covered in webs, and he's sort of brushing them away and trying to break them. And of course that's activating and sending a little tremor all the way through the webbing to our spider, who can then now sense what's taking place. There's somebody around and might be on the ceiling. Paladin hasn't looked up. Okay, so let's start off with the simple process of seeing if the spider is undetected by our Paladin, and also too if our spider has already detected our Paladin, because he's been knocking and pushing webs away. And one of the things about a giant spider is they have a thing called web sense. So as long as the web is touched or contacted by a creature, it can feel that contact if it's on the web, and that's exactly what's taking place. So I don't need to worry about dark vision for the giant spider. I don't need to worry about blind sight. I don't even need to worry about a passive perception. Okay, it knows that it's there. The question is, does the Paladin know that the spider's there? So we're going to make a perception check and compare it with a stealth modifier for our spider. Our stealth modifier for our spider is a grand total. Where are my dice? There it is. Let's make a 20-sided dice roll. We're adding a +7 for the stealth check for our spider. I rolled a 19. Oh, don't look good, mate. Okay, so, sorry, that's not 19, that's an 18. I do apologize. 18 plus 7 is 25. And for those of you who can hear the vacuum in the back, I do apologize. Somebody's decided to vacuum right now. Added bonus to one of these videos is being able to hear somebody doing the vacuuming. Okay, so it's 25. There's really no hope that our Paladin's likely to be able to detect that. They've got a passive perception which isn't super impressive. It's 13. And even if I try to make a check and roll a 20 on a 20-sided dice, the best I could do with my perception modifier, which is +3, is 23. So it's never going to be able to notice the spider. The spider is now going to have surprise. So let's roll some initiative. We'll start off with the Paladin. Why not? Let's see what our modifier is. Oh, it's a 0. No dexterity for this character. Roll a 20-sided dice. I rolled an 18. It's pretty high. And a 0 is 18. So, there we go. 18. Done. Now let's do the spider. Now the spider's a little bit different. It's got a modifier to it. On this one, it's a +3 for the initiative. That's their dexterity. So I roll a 20-sided dice. I rolled a 14. +3 is 17. So it's actually lower in the initiative order. Make sure you rank everything so that it's highest at the top, lowest at the bottom. Okay. Yeah. And okay. It's a box. Right, we need some hit points. So our giant spider has 26. Our Paladin has 12. And now we look through our initiative. I'm going to use the little magnet on this side so you can see what's going on. Hopefully it's clear as mud. If it's not clear as mud, you'll let me know. Okay? Alright, so top of the initiative. Paladin is surprised. Doesn't know that there is a giant spider. The spider knows that he's there, so that means that he gets to do nothing. Nothing at all whatsoever. It's terrible, I know. So we're going to skip him. His turn ends. He is no longer surprised, but he didn't get to do anything. It is now the giant spider's turn. Now, one of the things about a giant spider is they have really two tools or things that they can do. They can bite and they can web. And the smart thing is to web. Absolutely go with the web. Now, the thing with the web is it's got like a 30-foot range. It's pretty long. And it gets disadvantage when it's 60 foot away. So it's 30 foot up, and we are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 foot away. So it doesn't even have to move, which means we're going to say that it's not being seen. I'm going to give it an advantage. I think that's fair as a dungeon master, and if it's not, I don't care anyway. So we'll grab a dice, and we're going to roll advantage. Now, that would be fine if we were making an attack, which we are. The web is a ranged weapon attack, +5 on my dice roll. Okay, so he's on the ceiling, so I got an 11. Add my, I believe it is a +5, so that's 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 is equal to or greater than the armor class of our half-orc. Our Paladin's going to have a rough time, I can see right now. That means it's just been webbed. The target is now restrained. He's webbed. It's terrible. Okay, so that means that he's now restrained. He's going to have to contend with the fact that he's covered in webs, and it gives a huge boost and benefit to the spider. This is when the spider starts moving. Now, I'm going to say that the spider can climb along the webs to it and get really close. So he's now up close, webbed Paladin, and we're ready to follow up next turn with a bite. So the giant spider's done a pretty good job. Okay, we're up to round 2. It's now the Paladin's turn. the Paladin has the opportunity to do something. Unfortunately, when you are restrained, you have disadvantage on any attacks. Now, instead of attacking the spider, I'm going to have my Paladin draw out his trusty halberd. I know that sounds like not the tool to be using to cut something like any kind of webbing off, but it should be good enough. He's going to have disadvantage attacking the webs. The armor class for the webs is a 10. It has 5 hit points, and holy Toledo, what a great time to do vacuuming. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's roll that dice with disadvantage. I've got, whoop, no, that's not dice on what. Where's my other dice that I use? Oh, there's the 20. There we go. Alright, disadvantage. Take the lowest result. Ha ha! It's going to look good. Right, so that's a 13 was the lowest result on the dice. I add my plus 5 for my halberd. So that's a grand total of 18. So I've hit the webs, and now I get to do damage on the webs to see if I can cut myself free. I could have tried to break free, but I think that's actually going to be easier just to cut them. So we're using the halberd, which is a D10. Where's my D10? Okay, I got a 7. Add 3 to that, and guess what? That's 10 hit points. There's no more webbing around him. He is no longer restrained. Being webbed up didn't work. Now, he can call out for help. Help, help, help. But we're going to move on and have the next turn. Now, you can try to move, but you get an attack of opportunity on you. There's nothing I can really do as a bonus action at level 1, so we're going to stay put where we are. Okay, so back to the spider. It's round 2. And we're going to grab our 20-sided dice and try to make a bite attack. Holy Toledo. Okay, so I rolled a 15. I'm going to add the attack modifier for our spider, which is a plus 5. That's a 20. 20 is equal to or greater than equal than the armor class of the Paladin. So it's going to hit. So he does bite him, and I'm going to do some damage. I need an 8-sided dice. Okay, now he's not webbed, so he didn't get advantage on the attack. It was just a straight roll. For those of you who are wondering, remember, he cut himself free, the Paladin. Okay, so I rolled a 1. I'm going to add 3 to that, grand total of 4. So 4 hit points. Okay, we're getting there. It's going to take a long time at this rate, though. So 26 less 4. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. It's the spider doing the damage, isn't it? I'll make sure. 4. So 12 less 4 is 8. Here we go. Okay, now, advantage and disadvantage simplifies everything hugely. No penalties and bonuses to add up, adding plus 1s, plus 2s, plus 3s, plus 10s, or whatever. It's just crazy stuff. Okay, so we've done our bite. There's going to be some sort of poison damage. So that was just the piercing damage from the bite. The target also has to make a Constitution saving throw. So our Paladin will have to make a Constitution saving throw, which he will. We'll do that right now. And we're going to hopefully get an 11. Would be nice if we got an 11. You never know with these things. So our Constitution modifier is a plus 2. That'll be our saving throw modifier. And I add that to the 9. That comes to 11. I needed to get a grand total of I had to get a grand total of 11 on my Constitution saving throw. So I succeeded. So I'm only going to take half damage. So whatever I roll for the poison damage, it's only half. Okay, let us do this. We roll out, I believe that's right, yes. Okay, so a 2 plus a 6. No modifiers to this. So that's 8, and then I halve it because I'm only taking half the damage. Okay, so there's a grand total of 4 points of damage from the poison. Okay, so we'll take off 4 more hit points for the poison, which means he's now on 4 hit points. Ta-da! It's not working too badly. I think that's working all right. Okay, so now that the spiders had their opportunity to bite, we're going to move on to the next person, which is back up here, round 3. It's Paladin's turn. He gets to make an attack, which he will. Now remember, there is always the opportunity to heal yourself now if you want to do it now. But the problem with healing yourself often is you'll draw things out and give yourself more time, but you're not really trucking out damage. Okay, the spider, if it keeps hitting, is going to consistently probably do quite a bit of damage. In this case, I'm actually going to draw it out a little bit longer for you guys. So he's going to use his lay on hands. He's going to touch himself, the Paladin, in a appropriate manner. No inappropriate touching, in an appropriate manner, and he's going to regain 5 hit points. That's his action. That's all he can do. He can't do any attacking, never mind. But it does mean that he's not likely to go down the next time the spider hits him and does damage, because that's probably what's going to happen. So 5 more points. He goes to 9. So 4 plus 5 is 9. We'll draw out the combat a little bit longer, and we'll go down round 3, I believe, for the spider. The spider will, instead of biting this time, it's going to try to web. But you usually have a recharge feature with a spider, so you actually have to roll a dice. I'm going to grab a 6-sided dice, sorry, see if it recharged. Nah, didn't recharge. I didn't make the roll to recharge last time either, and I suppose if I was the sort of dungeon master, I would do that, but it didn't help anyway. So for those of you who are wondering why I didn't check the recharge for the web last time, I just did it now. It didn't work in that anyway. Okay, so didn't recharge, so we're going to go with a bite. We're going to bite again. Why not? That's what spiders do, they bite. We'll grab our 20-sided dice, plus 5 to that. Okay, I rolled a 15. The spider's doing really well today. Okay, so add 5 to that, that's 20. He's definitely going to hit the armor class of 16 on the half-orc. So that means he's going to do some damage. So we grab our dice for our bite. It's an 8-sided dice for the piercing. I roll that. I rolled an 8. Oh, it's not looking good. Add 3 to that. That is a grand total of 11. That means we're on our face. We're on our face. There we go. On our face. The Paladin is down. Oh no, it's terrible. The Paladin is down. Okay, so spider's had its fun. It will probably feed on the Paladin or wrap him up with his web next turn if he's got the web working. But we'll see how that goes. But first off, let's go back to the Paladin, because his mates have not arrived yet. What are they doing? They should be running faster. We're going to make some death saving throws. I often, with these videos, like to show people how to do the death saving throw. So here's the thing. We're going to grab a 20-sided dice. If I roll a 1, I get 2 failures. That's really bad. Don't want to roll a 1. There's no modifier to it unless you have some sort of spell effect in place, or somebody decides to give you inspiration on your death saving throw, or you decide to give yourself inspiration if you've got an inspiration point. Bless would certainly benefit me if I was doing this, but since I don't have Bless available, it's not going to work. Okay, so we'll make, now if I get a 2 to 9, that's 1 failure. So 1 is 2 failures, but if I roll 2 to 9, 2 failures. If I get 10 to 19, that's 1 success. And if I get a 20, I get 1 hit point back, and I get to get back up. Oh, I just forgot something, didn't I? And nobody even pointed it out. We have relentless endurance. So we didn't actually have to make a saving throw. I'm just going to ditch that. Spider wouldn't have dropped a half-orc, because half-orcs, when they are dropped to 0 hit points and not killed outright, which he wasn't, have only 1 hit point left. So death saving throw was not needed. We're still in the fight. I knew there was a reason why I brought the half-orc along today. Yes, that'll be it. Okay, so we'll get to do something on our turn. No death saving throw. But we have at least explained death saving throws for those of you who needed to know what it was. Okay, so let's do another round of attacks with our half-orc. Now, you could decide to take the dodge action and just slow it down so that it has a lesser chance of hitting, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Instead, we're going to try to just hit that spider and do some damage. It hasn't really sort of worked out that way so much. Okay, so roll your 20-sided dice. I rolled a 12, and I'm going to add 5 to that. I'm going to drop the halberd in this case and go with the maul, mainly because the maul will do more damage. Just seems like a sensible thing to do. So 12 plus 5 is 17. 17 is equal to or greater than the armor class of a spider. Giant spiders have an armor class of 14, so it's definitely going to hit. Good news for us, and we'll do some damage. So I get to use 2 6-sided dice. I'm so glad. That's good news. Yes, it is. We're going to roll those and hopefully do a bit of damage to our spider. Oh my gosh. I rolled ones. Double ones. Okay, it's not good. So that's 1 plus 1 plus 3 for our damage modifier, which is a total of 5. So the spider goes from 26 less 5 to 21. And I didn't need to roll rub out the 2, but it's too late now. To 21. Okay. Things aren't going quite the way I'd hoped. But anyway, you never know with a live stream how well you will remember all the things. I'm actually so hot in here, I'm just about to melt. I feel like I'm melting. I feel like that the Wicked Witch of the West. Okay, so we've done our Paladin. He's taken his turn. He can't do anything else. I'm not going to have him run because that seems like a bad idea. He's on 1 hit point. And the spider's going to take its turn. Now let's see if it recharges that web, because it would be good if we could web up this target and then eat it. I got a 4, doesn't recharge, only recharges on a 5 or a 6 on a 6-sided dice, which I usually check at the beginning of the monster's turn. So it doesn't recharge. We're going to go with a bite. The spider's not that badly hurt, it can take a bit more. So we'll make an attack, grab a 20-sided dice. I rolled a 9 and I add 5 to that for the attack modifier, which is 14. It's not equal to or greater than the armor class of 16 for the Paladin, so it doesn't strike, it doesn't hit. Our Paladin's still in it. He can make it. Okay, so let's move away from the spider. Now you can have the spider moving around the whole time and hissing and doing whatever you like. I'm not really doing that. I'm just trying to get through the mechanics of things. Okay, Paladin. I think that this is a good time to run. The sensible thing would be to take the dodge action and move away and try to get out of here. But oh my gosh, never going to happen, because I don't believe in that. I feel like we need to see who's going to take it. I think the spider's going to win myself. So the Paladin is going to make another attack using that maul. He's not webbed up. Make your attack with your 20-sided dice. I rolled a 12. I need to add 5 to that modifier, which is a 17. It's equal to or greater than the armor class of the giant spider, which is going to armor class of 14. And we're going to get to roll 2 6-sided dice. Okay, here we go. And I rolled a 4, and I get another 4. So that is 4 plus 4 is 8, plus my modifier, which is a 3. So that's 11 hit points. Yay! 21 less 11 is 10. 10. Yep, you can tell my brain isn't working because I had to think quite a lot then. Then again, I've been doing that just about all the way through this video. Okay, so the spider's looking hurt. The half-orc is still in it. Who will win this battle? I think the spider's going to win myself. But anyway, let's move down here. It's the spider's turn. Spider's going to make an attack. Now, let's check that web. You never know. Might recharge. Might be able to web our Paladin. No, it doesn't web up, something like that. Okay, so it doesn't web up. At this point, I think the spider's probably had enough. And I'm going to have it take the dodge action and try to clamber up the wall. That's what I want to do. But it means it's going to get hit by an attack of opportunity. That means the Paladin gets to attack it because it's trying to move away. It will be with disadvantage because the spider, I have decided, often disengage is not the best option. Often, to try to escape, you take the dodge action so that it's harder to be hit because the creature's likely to sort of follow you anyway. So unless you move faster than them, it's kind of pointless. So take 2 dice. That's right. Take 2 dice. And I'm rolling with disadvantage with my Paladin, who gets an opportunity attack on the spider. And I got an 11's the lowest number. I got a 16 and 11. So 11 plus 5 is 16. I still hit the spider. Yeah, good news. All right, now I need to roll really high on these 6-sided dice and hopefully kill this thing. I rolled a 3 and a 5. That's 8. Plus my 3 for my attack modifier, which is an 11. How many hit points does that spider still have? I'm pretty sure it's going to go down. 10 less 11. Spider's dead. Didn't make it away even while it was trying to dodge. But it was a smart spider, and it's probably the sensible thing that any kind of beast or creature would do is when things aren't looking too good for it, you dodge and you try to get away. it didn't succeed. The Paladin was simply too much for it. And of course, if I was really sick, I could of course include more spiders and so forth, which you saw before. If I was really cruel, I could include something much worse. I could think of something much worse. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have something much worse. I've got a couple of miniatures sitting around here in my studio, which is essentially a little box. I feel like I'm doing my videos in a cupboard. It is essentially a cupboard, just with a vacuum cleaner in the background. I have a hill giant, I've got a Dracolich, I have that's an iron golem, I have a T-Rex, and I have a purple worm that I could easily grab. What would you like me to put on the table? I'm quite willing to stick it on the table. So here's your choices: hill giant, Dracolich, iron golem, T-Rex, or purple worm. So what I'm looking for, since there's so many people in the room, I'm looking for 3 votes for one of those. Give me some votes, guys. Throw it out there. Come on, be quick. Don't make me talk too long, and I will stick out the appropriate creature. Does that mean that he's going to have to fight that creature? Really depends. T-Rex gets 1 vote. Need 2 more votes for the T-Rex, and then it's the T-Rex. Otherwise, somebody else voting for something else? Is it just David? Is everybody else going to be quiet? Am I too scary? Maybe I am. Maybe I just sound like a mental person. I have been talking. T-Rex, roll for damage. That's 2 for T-Rexes. Oh, that's 3, Steve. You've just said it. I'll just grab the T-Rex. Hang on. And somebody brought up a T-Rex, and it's been wandering around in the sewers for I don't know how long. And honestly, I mean, this gate here, what does this gate mean? You just break through there, eat the spider. Yeah, spiders will run away. Yeah, spider's already dead, don't worry about it. And there's the Paladin. T-Rex time. I'm pretty sure the T-Rex is going to eat our Paladin. It's got 1 hit point left. Even if he was on 12 hit points, I think a T-Rex is probably going to lunch down our little Paladin. So I'm just going to stick him in his claws. It's a handy position for chomping and chewing. Things like that. Thank you for interacting with me, guys. I thought I would throw that out there and see what would happen. Since this is essentially the last mini combat tutorial on the classes. Certainly of this nature. I wasn't planning to do any more beyond this point. So look, if you enjoyed my blabber, if you enjoyed listening to the vacuum in the in the background, if you enjoyed what I have done today, please share and like the video. If you like this sort of thing, there's a whole bunch of them, so subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified. If you want to be notified of live streams, which I do a lot, and a lot of published videos. I do have a whole bunch of other mini combat tutorials you can check out that I've already done. You supported me by watching this video, and you can continue to support me by not running your ad blocker and watching more of my videos. I don't do Patreon, and I probably won't do Patreon for 2019. I had a good hard think about it. But you can support me by buying stuff online through affiliate links from the Book Depository and Amazon if you do that sort of thing. If you don't worry about it. And now, this is what you need to do. You need to ask questions, say hi, say bye, say you did a lousy job, say I would have preferred a different creature, thank you very much, Fred. Give me some feedback in the live chat while I'm still here. If you're not part of a live stream, that's what the comment section's for. Put it down there. Give me a decent question, some decent feedback. I will respond. If you don't, I will ignore you. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.